Hello, I'm Janelle Schneider, or as some of you may know me, Mrs. Schneider from Engage and Inspire with Mrs. Schneider. Today I'm going to tell you about two of my favorite teacher resources, Secret Stories and Boom Cards. And I'm going to tell you why the new Secret Stories Boom Cards are the perfect addition to your phonics routine. And I'm going to explain why Boom Cards are so effective and efficient and how they can make your life easier and they can maximize your student achievement. As teachers, we have so many resources thrown at us from every different direction, and it can be really overwhelming to know which resources are best and which we shouldn't waste our time on. We are constantly pulled in every different direction. We're constantly having new curriculum thrown at us, and we're promised that every new website or every new app is the magic tool that we've been waiting for, only to be let down by these false promises. We get tired of wasting our own time and our own money on new websites and apps only to find out that they're just a waste of time. And our kids didn't like them. So just know this about me. I will never recommend a teacher resource that I have not thoroughly researched, thoroughly tested, and vetted in my own classroom. On top of that, I strive to make learning as fun and as engaging as possible. So I will not recommend any resources or activities that are not kid approved. My students beg to learn phonics with secret stories, and they beg to work on boom cards. So, when kids are begging to learn, when they like their assignments, when they're thoroughly engaged in their schoolwork, they're going to try harder and they're going to retain more information. So, during the 2020 COVID school closures, I was struggling to find a way to teach my students virtually. Through one of the second grade Facebook groups, I came across boom cards, and you can see it at wow.boomlearning.com. Though I found at first the platform was a little bit confusing, I've grown to love it. I quickly learned it, and I've grown to absolutely love boom cards. And at first, I only purchased boom cards in the store, but then I started to make my own. And then, since I'm making them for my own students, I decided to just put them for sale also. And I was surprised with how many teachers were purchasing them. So during this same time, I decided to obtain my master's in curriculum and instruction. And through my coursework, I realized that boom cards were not only liked by my students and myself, but the idea behind them is backed by learning theory. So when I was completing my coursework on the different learning theories, I wrote in one of my papers, it's a quote, so I'm going to read it. When it comes to teaching our diverse students, there is no one size fits all learning theory. Teachers find, trim, and arrange bits and pieces of many different learning theories to craft the beautiful mosaic of student learning. In any one lesson, it is typical for a teacher to have elements from cognitivism, behaviorism, constructivism, and humanism. Okay, so and a lot of my philosophy after completing my coursework is to take the best pieces of the different learning theories and blend them together into my own learning theory and my own philosophy, but take what works and the suggestions from those and blend them into a beautiful mosaic of learning. So, but what was interesting to me is that one learning theory really does support the use of boom cards, which is the behavioral learning theory. And when people think of the behavioral learning theory or operant conditioning in the classroom, they're typically envisioning the conditioning of student behavior in regard to discipline and classroom management. And that's true, and you can do that. But also, incorporating behaviorism in the classroom could greatly impact academic teaching and learning as well. So, in there's a blog post by WGU, and I'm going to read the quote. The stimulus response sequence is a key element of understanding behaviorism. Behavioral learning theory argues that even complex actions can be broken down into the stimulus response. Okay. So in the case of boom cards, students hear a ding and they see a green circle when they have a correct answer. Alternatively, they hear a whoops and see a red circle when they get the incorrect answer. And the other thing that's really great about boom cards is that students must find their error and correct it before they can move on. So, some behaviorist teaching strategies that are recommended in this article that I'm including the link to are drills. So, one thing that's really important is to help students see repetition and reinforcement in not only their behavior, but in their academics also. Using question and answer, using guided practice, regular review, and positive reinforcement. So, those are some behaviorist teaching strategies. So, I can go on about the learning theories and how boom cards are effective and efficient as proven by research and learning theories, but I'm not going to waste your time with that. So, I'm just going to tell you what I love about boom cards. So, what the thing I love most about boom cards, aside from the immediate feedback that students receive, is the repetition. So, students need to practice a skill several times to obtain mastery, and boom cards offer students repetition, immediate feedback, and positive reinforcement in the form of the ding. And repetition and positive reinforcement go hand in hand with behavioral learning theory. Without positive reinforcement, students will abandon their responses because they are not working. So think about it. How many times have your students just stopped working on their assignment? They just abandoned their assignment because it was too hard, because they didn't know if they were doing it right. Or how often are you having students complete work that you don't have time to grade until much later in the week? How often are you giving them assignments that they're not getting immediate feedback on? And we would all love to be that teacher that walks around and gives immediate feedback every second of the day, but it's not realistic. Okay? But that's powerful for their brain. Like, they need that immediate feedback to know if they're on the right track or not. With boom cards, students are actively engaged because they know if they're doing it correctly or not. They want to hear that ding. They want to feel successful. And when they hear whoops repeatedly, they know that they are not being successful and they know that they need to ask for help. And the good thing is, those shy students that don't ask for help, they just sit there and like listen to whoops 20 times. The good news is, on boom cards, there's live reports. So as you're walking around the classroom or if you're at your computer, you can see which students are struggling, which students are flying through getting 90%, 100%, and which students are missing them. And that's the perfect opportunity to pull those struggling students for one-on-one reteach or a small group reteach. Okay, so some of you might be wondering how I use boom cards in my classroom. So, first of all, I scaffold all of my lessons with the gradual release of responsibility model. And if you've seen my Google Slide lessons or my YouTube videos that I made during COVID school closures, then you know that I structured those lessons as I do, we do, you do. Now that we are back in the classroom, I structure my lessons as I do, we do, you do together, like in a pair or small group, and then you do individually. And so, what that looks like is when I have my I do, I'm giving whole group direct instruction. And you have to remember to try and keep that as short as possible. I tried to keep my YouTube videos 10 minutes or less. It's tough. Then we're doing the we do together, and then you do the collaborative. They're working collaboratively together with a partner or a group of three or four. And then finally, they do it individually, and that is when they work on their boom cards. And that is when I'm looking and checking their mastery and their understanding of that, whatever skill that is. And I also use boom cards to differentiate assignments for students and to fill in learning gaps. Okay, let's talk about how boom cards work, because it can be a little confusing in the beginning, um, especially if you've never used boom cards before. And there's, as you see, 4 different membership plans, and there's just a lot of questions. So I'm going to give you just a quick overview of how boom cards work. So first, here's the membership plans. There's a free plan, an essential plan, a premium, and a publisher. Okay, the free plan, if you look here, it only includes 5 students. So if you're a teacher, you probably don't want this plan. This would be really great for parents. Like, if you just want to use boom cards for your own child, like you love secret stories and you want to use boom cards, or you're homeschooling up to 5 students, this would be great. You can get the free plan, and that will work great for you. If you're a teacher and you just don't have enough money, you don't want to spend the $25 a year, then you can still do the free, and you can use fast play links. And so, what fast play links are, I'll show you in a little bit, but you can send the link to the student, and the student can play it. But You're not going to get any data on it as to like how many they got correct or how many they didn't get correct. So fast play links they're useful for letting students practice a skill, but if you want to collect that data and know if they're mastering the skill, then you are going to want something um, where you can have your whole class in it. So again, so starter, free, perfect for homeschooling parents and teachers that only want fast play. Okay. The essential plan for is $25 for the year. And then I don't know why you can have 17 classrooms. I don't know, maybe for high school teachers or something, but you can have up to 150 students and 17 classrooms. And so it's $25 a year. And if you're a teacher, this is the first one that I would recommend you get. But the only thing about this one that I don't like is that you can't get the live reports. And I use those daily. So live reports to me are super important. So if you're a teacher that has a little bit more money to spend and you can afford the $40 a year, then this is going to be a great choice for you. So this is what I had before I started publishing decks and selling them. So the premium is $40 a year, and you can make your own decks. And I say play around with it because that's how I got started. And I never considered myself like a tech savvy person. But you can do fast play links if you want to. You get the detailed reports. You can add colleagues, and you can share any decks that you make. You can share with your colleagues. And so we did that. My colleagues and we did that. We made some summative assessments and shared them with each other. And then the best part is it's already graded. No grading on the weekend, right? You get your score right away. Yes. Okay. And you get your live reports. Okay. And then if you want to sell your decks, you can always upgrade. You can always start at the 40 and then upgrade it to 50 later on. If you decide to start selling, like if you realize like, hey, actually, I can make some money doing this, then you can move up to the publisher. And that's what you would want to do if you want to sell your decks. Okay. So there's the things. Most teachers are going to choose this one, the premium for $40 a year. That will give you everything you want. Okay, so here's what it looks like when you go to the Boom Cards website. Okay, and when you go and you sign in, you're going to say, I'm a teacher. The best thing ever is if you have Google Classroom. Then you just sign in with Google, and then you can import all your students from Google Classroom, easy peasy. And then when the students go to log in, they just have to click sign in with Google. No typing in passwords, nothing, super easy. I just left this beautiful classroom. I'm switching districts, so I have to sign in with a different email. Okay. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like when you log in, and you can see I have my class here because I am a real teacher that teaches second grade. I'm not just somebody that sells stuff. So this is what it looks like when you log in. And then if you want to go to the store and you want to search, see what kind of decks are available. So you're going to click right up here where it says store. Okay. And then right here in the search bar, this is where you can search for something. So they have you could search by authors, whatever. I just type in usually sometimes in the morning, like if I didn't have time to plan something and I know that I look in my book and I'm like, we're on ERIRUR this week. Then I might say like phonics CVC. And then I just hit enter and I see what what decks are available. Or I might be interested only in secret stories. So I might type secret stories and search. Okay. And look, there's the really awesome secret stories boom cards, the short vowel CVC boom cards. Okay. So that's how you search for them. Let's go back to the front. So how you pay for these decks is with points. Okay. So you can see I have 1,281 points. Okay, what this breaks down for me is I have $12.81 on here that I can spend. And how I know that is because I always buy 5,000 points for $50. I do that because as you see, you get discounts as you go along. And 5,000 points for $50, that means that 100 points is $1. So think of it as pennies, right? And so for me, that's like, okay, so if I'm going down here, I can see that like this deck is 600 points. For me, that means that that's $6. So I might click on it. Let me find a different one. Let's see. Okay, boom cards ending sounds. Let's click on that. So that's 200 points. That'd be $2. So if I want to see, well, is this worth $2 for me? Right here, I can click full-sized preview, and I don't want to do that. But you can go through, and you can see this one has volume on it.
Mushroom.
Mushroom. So now I have to find the ending sound. And over here, okay, and then it's ding, it's correct. Okay. All right, hats off to whoever created this. All right. And if you want to buy it, okay, so let's say that I want to buy one. Okay, so next week, I know I'm doing AUAW next week in the new school that I just switched to. And okay, so I see this one only 100 points. That means it's $1. So what I would do is I don't need to add it to my cart. I could just click buy now because I have that 1,200 points available. So if I buy now, okay, and then it says item is in your library. So I would go right up here to my library, and now you can see that I have that available to assign. And so let me show you how you assign the boom cards to your students. So to assign the boom cards, let me find one. Let me do the site word one. Okay, so I'm going to assign this one. So what you do is you go to action, and then you go to assign. Okay, so as you see, I have 2 classes here, because remember it said I could have up to 17 classes and up to 150 students. So I took advantage of that. So this is my regular second grade classroom. These guys are imported with Google Classroom. These 8 students are like kids that I tutor, my friends' kids that need extra practice, and their parents just ask me like, "Can you please assign them I don't know, like phonics boom cards or your math boom cards, whatever it may be." And so then I assign that to them so they can get extra practice, because kids love boom cards and they love learning, and a lot of teachers don't use them. So my friends ask me if I can do it for their kids, and of course I'm happy to. Okay, so I'm going to assign it to this class. Once you click the little red box, it's assigned to them. So I'm going to close out there. That's already on their deck now. Okay, so if you want to see what the reports look like, you're going to go right up here to where it says reports. And I'm going to switch my class to my regular second grade class. So we're on spring break. So it says no decks were played over the last 7 days. So you'll usually have your decks showing right here. So I'm going to go over here to where it says view older reports. So anything that's like a week or older, you're going to go over here to where it says view older reports. Okay. So I'm going to click on my second grade class. Okay. So here's a deck that I'm going to look at the reports. So this is when we were learning the air and air spelling patterns. Don't you just love teaching that one? And so we're going to go through and see what the kids' scores are. So their names are over here. I've zoomed in so you can't see the students' names to protect their privacy. But here you see, so this student got 12 out of 18. It took them 7.5 minutes to complete the deck. And they played it one time. They played all 20 cards. Okay, this person did not finish the deck. They've done 14 cards in 8 minutes, and they got 8 out of 13 correct. Okay, this one, they completed it. They got a 61%. Okay, going through, I'm seeing like, wow, okay, the kids we need more practice on air and air spelling. Okay, not the greatest scores, not the greatest. Let's switch over to math and see. Let's see how they did on this one. Adding 100 to a 3-digit number. All right, the scores are looking pretty good. There are 31 cards in this deck. And so it took them 10 minutes on average. It looked like 10 minutes to complete. Pretty good scores on here. Some absent students. The thing I like about boom cards too is it tells you how long it took them to complete it. And that's also, we have some students that they're slower, but it doesn't mean that they don't understand it. They're just slower to complete it. And so, for example, when you have a student that maybe they haven't done all 31 cards, right? So they've done 15 cards, but they have a 93%. So you can understand, so you can see that while they didn't complete their assignment, they are getting them correct. They're doing a great job on them. Okay, so that's enough about the score. So let me show you what it looks like from the student side. All right, so I'm gonna sign in as my daughter right now, and so you can see it from the student perspective. So the students would click on I'm a student. If it's a student in your classroom that has Google Classroom, all they have to click on is sign in with Google. So here's what it looks like from the kids' perspective once they get signed in. So you can see they have like a cute little animal, and they earn these little, I don't know, icons, whatever. They're little badges, like they earn them and they can change the picture there, and they love doing that. And um, but you can see all of the decks that are assigned. Now, Emma, I assigned a bunch right before spring break because I wanted the kids to practice boom cards during spring break. So here's what it would look like. If they have not done any of their boom cards, there's nothing there. Okay. If they have opened it, there's going to be at least a green circle and a blue circle. So this shows that she did one card and she must have got it wrong because she has a 0 out of 10 so far. Okay. On this one, this was she's halfway done with this deck. So she's done 10 cards and she's gotten 9 out of 20. So that means she's missed one, right? Otherwise, it would have been 10 out of 20. So she's doing pretty good, but she needs to finish that deck still. Okay. And here's what it looks like when they're complete. So when the decks are complete, they'll have a green check mark and a blue diamond. And then this one right here means that she opened it and then she was like, nope, I'm not going to do that. And she closed it. So she didn't complete any cards. She didn't submit any cards. So it's incomplete. This one, you can see she really struggled with ERIRUR. So as her mom, or as her teacher, I might want to check in. I might want to have her. So that's what it looks like from the student perspective. And that the helpful thing about that as a teacher is during parent teacher conferences, I tell parents about boom cards. I say, I'm going to be assigning them in class. If your child is absent, check, because every day we have something on boom cards, phonics, math, I don't know, sight words. We do something on boom cards. So if your child's home and they don't have anything to do, but they have their Chromebook, they can do their boom cards. We have assignments that they can do. There are other reports too I forgot to show you. So I'm going to show you one more. I'm going to sign in as myself again. If you click right here where it says 2-digit subtraction with regrouping, and then you click right here, it says report by cards, because you can look at the students and you can see, a quicker view, and you can see their score. So you could just print this out and put in gradebook if you want. But anyways, if you go to report by cards, okay, then you can see what the common misunderstanding is. So look at this. So 7 students got 45 minus 28 correct, and 11 got it wrong. Okay. 6 got this one correct, and 11 got this one wrong. Okay. And I could see, like, is there one that they all got right? Oh, look, 21 got this one right. That was just the direction part. So they all got it right. They all clicked next on that one. But you can see which one they're struggling with the most, and it puts the one that they get wrong the most often up at the top. And so I love this report so much. This was a deck with the and error spelling patterns that are just really tricky for the kids to get, and they didn't do very well. Well, I want to know, like, what card was toughest for them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click right here, and then I'm going to go to report by cards, and look, here we go. 10 students got this one wrong. It said share, and 10 students clicked chair, and 1 student clicked sharp. So that gives me a lot of insight into, okay, we need to look more at sh and not or ch. Okay, and look at those digraphs again. Okay. And then here we can see 9 people got this one correct and 8 got it wrong. And I could see the word was supposed to be pair, and this, 8 kids, 8 got it wrong. Let's see. So 4-ish chose Blair. 1 chose March, which where'd they even, I don't know where they got that from. But you can go through and see, and you can see what they didn't struggle with. Like, okay, look at this. Like 14 kids got this right, the sorting with and error. So I love the data that this gives you on where the individual students are, where the class is. It's just so beneficial. All you have to do is go to report by students. Look, you have their score right here. They got 10 correct. Okay. Put it in gradebook. Done. It's graded for you. And it's beneficial because the students got that instant feedback. They knew if they were doing well or not. They were able to correct their error before they moved on. They didn't sit and practice something incorrectly. So if you have not heard about secret stories, uh, you need to go check it out because it is by far the best resource that I've ever found to help students learn to read. My favorite thing about Secret Stories is that it can be used with any curriculum. So, you know how we pilot like 4 different curriculums and they throw them all away and then they give you a new one. And then a few years later, they decide to throw that one out and give you a new curriculum. Awesome. Teachers love that. But it doesn't matter because Secret Stories is a supplement, it's not a curriculum. And it can work with any curriculum. So it can work with journeys and it can work for with Reach for Reading and it can work with Houghton Mifflin and it can work with any reading curriculum that your students use. And what it is, so you see these beautiful posters here, there's little stories that go along with each poster that helps the students remember what sounds the letters make when they come together in a digraph or in a vowel combination. Um, and the students remember it. That's the best part. They remember it. Normally, when a student is trying to decode a word and they see a Y, it takes them a long time to recall what sound that would make. But with secret stories, they just remember they remember it because they remember the story. And has just been the most exciting thing this year to see these students just blossom and grow and love reading. And so if you have not checked out Secret Stories, you're missing out. You need to get on Secret Stories. But okay, that's my pitch for it. Do what you want to do. It's the greatest thing ever to help kids learn how to read. You know, I love boom cards and I love secret stories. So I reached out to Katie Garner, the creator of Secret Stories, and I said, "Hey, do you make boom cards? Because if so, like I want to buy all of them." And she didn't, and she didn't know what boom cards were. So I was like, "Okay, well let me make you a sample." So you can see what it's like and then maybe you can like get one of your people on it to make these amazing boom cards because they would be so beneficial for the kids. And so we've created some really awesome boom cards, and my students love them. And I can't wait for your students to get to see them. So let me show you one. So this was the one that is already out. There's a bundle.
Wet.
Okay, so boom cards has audio because as a teacher, I love when it has audio. How I teach my students in the classroom. Listen to the word
Wet.
wet. Now tap out how many sounds you hear. W, e, t. How many sounds? 3 sounds. Okay, first sound is w. What letter represents the w sound? Okay, then they would drag that to that first sound. Good. What's the next sound? What's the middle sound? E, eh. If you do secret stories, you know all about eh. Okay, eh. Good. And the last sound is t. Good. And the T represents the t sound. Okay, so they're going to see, did I get it right? Did I spell this word right? Yes, they
Vet.
did. Okay, and when your kids play this, they're going to be in random order. Okay, and I'll show you what happens if they spell it wrong. If they spell it incorrectly, this is what happens.
Whoops.
Whoops, they need to figure it out. Let's say they got one thing right.
Whoops.
Whoops. But you'll see, they can see that their E was correct. Okay, so they have their vowel correct, but their consonants are incorrect. So that it's really teaching them. They have to correct their error before they move on. The next to be released is going to be Hear It, Tap It,
Nut.
Spell It. Okay, now spelling is is a different skill than this is going to be a little bit harder than the original when they're dragging and dropping because the letters are already there. Now they're going to have to think and look at their keypad and figure out which letter it is and find that letter that represents the sound. Okay, so nut. They're going to listen to the word nut. They're going to tap it out. T. Good. First sound is What letter represents N? Good. Next sound is what letter says the U? Good. And the last sound is T, and that is the T. They're going to check. Did they get the answer right? Yes, they did. Also, what we've been working on on releasing are sight words, orthographically mapping sight words, and flashcards. Okay. So, in the science of reading community, there is a lot of debate about sight words. Should they be taught? They shouldn't be taught. How should they be taught? Well, how should they be taught and how are we told to teach them? Two different things. So we are told, like from kindergarten, kids are being taught to just memorize these sight words. Okay, that's where Secret Stories comes in. That's where orthographically mapping is going to come in, because most of the sight words, like our Fry 1000 sight words or the Dolch sight words, can actually be decoded completely fine. There are those ones that are heart words, right? They are not making the sounds that they should make. They have pieces that have to be remembered by heart. But part of the word's decodable, and then you just have to remember by heart the other part. And so what we've been working on is releasing these
the,
word mappings.
the,
Okay. So the can actually, it doesn't have to be a heart word. Okay. Because it says the, like as in the end. Okay. So my kids, I would say tap out the, E, two sounds. First sound is th, and we know that the TH could be voiced or unvoiced. And I always ask my kids, like, okay, so where's your tongue at? And they know Secret Stories, right? They're sticking their tongue out, so it's TH. And then E, this is superhero, E, that says E. So the, and my students know that that can also be pronounced as the. And then last of all, there's also going to be flashcards. There's also flashcards. So they're broken down into the Fry first 20, and then 21 to 40, 41 to 60, 61 to 80, 81 to 100. So there's 5 decks. And the student can try and sound out the word. And then if they can't get it, or to check if they were correct, they click on the
the,
speaker
the,
and it tells them. Okay. And they click the next button, go on to the next card. And if they're like, oh, I don't know, I don't remember, is this off?
of,
You're like, oh no, it's of. Okay. And if they want to sound this one out, and they click the speaker,
and,
and okay. And that is just what I wanted to share with you today. Boom cards are amazing. Secret Stories is amazing. Together, they're awesome, and they're going to help your students achieve great, amazing, incredible growth. If you're interested in any of the products that I've created, or any of my YouTube videos, please follow me on YouTube or on Facebook. Engage and inspire with Mrs. Schneider. Thank you.